Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Please take your seats. Thank you so much. Welcome to the first anniversary of the American Yunnan General Chamber of Commerce and the California Green Agricultural Development Forum. 大家好，欢迎来到美国云南总商会19年和清基加州绿色农业发展论坛。谢谢大家，谢谢你们的到来。Okay. I used to live in China for about 7 years, but I never went to Yunnan. I always wanted to go to Yunnan. I always heard about Kunming. I always heard about how beautiful the whole state of Yunnan is. I really always wanted to go, but I never had the chance. So fortunately, when I got to know the Chamber of Commerce, I had an opportunity to take some of my members. I'm the founder and the president of the Liuhua Xiaohui, the Study in China Alumni Association. And last year, we took 100 college students and young professionals to China. And part of our trip, we were able to take a group to Yunnan. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go. I know, it was so disappointing. But the good news is, because I continue to work with the Chamber, I've become very good friends with Tina Yao, the Huizhang of the Chamber, the president of the Chamber of Commerce. She's a very good friend of mine. We've been doing a lot of work together, and we're looking forward to bringing more Americans to go to Yunnan, including myself, finally. So Tina is an amazing person. She runs a lot of amazing events for people. She supports everyone that she works with. She's been very supportive to me and my organization, so it's been an honor to work with her. She loves to, share culture both directions, from China to the US to China, and give everyone opportunities to grow, make money, and make their life better. So I want to welcome Tina Yao to the stage.
Sorry, I'm not so tall. Thank you. California State Treasurer, Vietnam. Oh, Mayor of Millbury not coming yet. Honorable Chairman, Dr. Ma. Good afternoon, dear members and friends. Thank you very much for attending this first anniversary celebration of our American Yunnan General Chamber of Commerce. And also, I'm pleased to announce the formation of the California Green Agriculture Development Forum with our organization. Over the past year, our organization has gone steadily from ground up. We have advanced in a number of key initiatives. For that, I will show you the work we have accomplished in the past year in the video. Jenny, please.
在世界的东方，有一块孕育多样生物的高原绿洲——云南。在太平洋彼岸，有一个融合科技与农业的阳光之洲——加州。当彩云之南与阳光之洲牵手，一场跨越山海的农业合作故事就此展开。云南地处高原，阳光充沛，气候多样。孕育出世界闻名的普洱茶、香醇咖啡和绚烂花卉。这里的每一片茶叶、每一颗咖啡豆、每一朵鲜花，都是大自然与匠心的完美结晶。这些美好也在向加州走来。美国云南总商会将为两省州的友好合作添砖加瓦。加州优质蓝莓育种项目在云南落地，孕育出备受消费者喜爱的品牌。不仅畅销中国，更进入东南亚市场，成为跨境农业合作的成功范例。加州农业企业 Bloom Fresh 也在云南展开高附加值水果种植与出口项目，为云品添彩，也拓展了加州农业的空间。商会致力于推动云南与美国，特别是加州在农业、商贸、教育、 文化旅游等多个领域的互利合作。我们坚信，民间力量可以为国家之间架起一座有益的桥梁。过去1年，商会从无到有，步履铿锵。我们组建云南民族服饰方阵，首次亮相第92届好莱坞圣诞大游行，让云南文化走向世界。我们协助云南药品流通协会在洛杉矶举办商务交流，为云药打开国际窗口。我们在硅谷欢迎杨丽萍舞蹈团队向主流社会展示民族艺术之美。我们协助云南农业企业在加州落地，推动实质合作。我们设展南博会，走访云南省各厅局，参与滇商总会周年庆，省政府。
It's okay. I think later on you can see we will continue to play. We will continue with our main mission of supporting Yunnan products going global and fostering China and U.S. relationship. And we will invite some entrepreneur to join to Yunnan next month. If anybody at all interested, later on can talk with me. And in July, we will welcome a delegation of Yunnan business entrepreneurs to California. They will bring Yunnan products to California. Welcome all of you to join us. We will build a Yunnan product display center in downtown Los Angeles. Everyone is welcome to test it. We will organize a group to go Yunnan from time to time to let American people experience a kind of lifestyle called Yunnan. We also often organize entrepreneurs from Yunnan to United States to California to invest and develop here. All of this inspirable from the excellent leadership and help of California government. That's why now I want to introduce my very good friend and everybody knows her. It's my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, California State Treasurer Fiona Ma. She holds the 5th highest position in California government and managing an investment portfolio of $3 trillion, with which is the 4th largest economy in the world, only after US, China, and Germany. Welcome.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you. Thank you all for coming here to support us. It was back in 1999 that Jeffrey Chang, Jeffrey, stand up. He was the general counsel of the Jiangsu Zhejiang Association, and I was working for John Burton at the time. And he said he wanted to create a sister state relationship with the Jiangsu province. Lo and behold, it was already done. And so next step, he said, I'd like to invite Senator John Burton to lead the delegation back to the Jiangsu province. Senator Burton said, go ahead. He invited some of his favorite colleagues. We were all set to go. And then the senator says, I am not going, you go. Meaning me. So that's how I started participating in these trips. And back then, my father said, what are you doing? Why are you going back to China? You don't even speak good Chinese. And I said, well, I don't know, but I am one of these people that if invited, I always say yes, because you never know what is going to happen, what doors are going to open. And because of our many delegation trips since 1999, I believe it has gone a long way for our California legislators to have that experience going to China, meeting people, understanding the importance of bilateral trade. And because of that, California is still considered a friendly state here in the United States. APEC happened, and we weren't sure if President Xi was going to come, but because of the warm relations with Governor Gavin Newsom, as well as San Francisco Mayor London Breed at the time, he did come. And so I think hopefully we'll get some pandas out of it as a sign of, diplomatic relations and, having this close relation. Secondly, my father is from the Yunnan province, Dr. William Ma. My grandfather was the first mayor of Kunming. My two grand uncles were also generals. The three of them were generals in the KMT. And so a couple years ago after COVID, my dad wanted to go back to Yunnan, but he really wanted to wait until he could take the high-speed train. And so it took a little bit, but the year after COVID, we flew to Shanghai and we took the train. It took about 2 days because we were a little bit jet lagged. So we stopped halfway between, slept a night, and then went the entire way with the Morrisons, Ken and Lauren Morrison. And that was the first time that I started to understand the importance of the Yunnan province. That although it is in the West, right? Chengdu was a priority for the government, but Yunnan is really where my home is and our heart is. And so we tasked Tina Yao, since she is also from Kunming, to please see whether we can start an association to bring more cultural exchanges, people to people, business to business. And the Yunnan province is also the largest agriculture producing province in China. As you could see from the video, it kind of looks like California, all the farms, right? Not these like little 1 acre plots of all these different farmers over the years, but they have really advanced. And so now, because we started, I see Jake here, and Jess Brown, our executive director for the San Francisco Farm Bureau. We started the San Francisco Farm Bureau last year to make sure that we continue to produce high quality, fresh, tasty food here in California. 3 things we need as human beings. We need air, and we're trying to deal with climate change. We need water. Sometimes we have water, sometimes we don't. We cannot really control Mother Nature. But third is food. And that is one thing that we can better control and support. And so today is the California Green Agriculture Development Forum to see whether we can build more partnerships, more understanding. And there are many California companies that are already in the Yunnan province, like Driscoll's. And so the more exchanges we have of this nature, the more we can collaborate and ensure that we can produce food for not only our generation, but our next generation. So I thank Tina for stepping up, as well as William, Ling, and others from the Yunnan province especially, for supporting our efforts. We hope to go back again soon, Dad, whenever one of these appropriate times to go back. And again, we thank you all for coming, for supporting, and just continuing to build global relations with our brothers and sisters in the Far East. It is so important because China is such an important trading partner for us. Many of us come at one time from China. This is our homeland, and I feel I feel strongly that I need to do a little bit more to promote the relationship between Yunnan province and the state of California. So I am going to also give out some certificates to some of the board members and other major supporters of our association and the forum here today. Okay, so to my father, Dr. William Ma, honorary chairperson. Jisoo Yang.
周杨杨继洲，哎，没到。英方，你们上来。名字。Okay, let me know name. I read the name. Thank you. 香香，杨香，不好意思，杨香。It's beautiful. Okay. 范怀涛。林志华、张倩、姚运芳，然后谁来代表 American Yunnan Chamber of Commerce？ 哎，你来。然后 American General Chamber of Commerce， 你来。对呀，给我们代表一个。然后这是我的，没了。Okay, take a picture.
Should we take a picture?
Wait, take a picture. Don't go yet.
You want to move this?
If you have a certificate, come back so we can have you in a picture to commemorate this amazing opportunity. What do you need to know? All good?
Sorry, one more time. One, two, three.
Thank you, Treasurer Ma, for proving that California isn't just the Golden State, it's the money-making state. Joining the Chamber of Commerce is for finding money-making opportunities. 对不对? Okay, thank you. And who better than this investment queen to show the way? We're very excited to follow your lead and grow together, so thank you again. Next, I'm very excited to welcome another king of investing to the stage, Stephen Ma, fundraiser for Treasurer Fiona Ma. Please join us on the stage and give us some of your wonderful words of wisdom.
Thank you, Angela. Okay, I'll try to make my remark in both Chinese and English. 我先试着用两种语言说。首先呢， I want to say something about Fiona Ma. I think she really undersold herself. None of this won't be possible without her. You know, she alluded a little bit to the history of how she built, literally, the legislative communication bridge between California and China. I think you brought over 19 delegations. Most of the legislators now in the state who understand about China are due to that effort. And of course, without Jeffrey, who is my role model, by the way, that would not be possible. 所以，其实刚刚财长真的太谦虚了。我们这边所有的人，如果没有他，是做不起这些事情的。包括这个商会，包括刚刚讲的旧金山农会，包括加州跟中国的两个这个地区的交流。财长过去20年带了19个立法院的团队去到中国。我敢讲说，现在在加州政府里面，那些官员，那些民选官员也好，政府官员了解中国的大部分都是透过他的功劳，因为他是第一个。当然还有我们的好朋友张家华律师，他也是我的偶像。我常常在以他当作榜样在学习。Okay, so that is not to be undermined. 那现在财长呢要竞选加州的副州长 ，and now she is running for the next lieutenant governor of California. If we want to have more cultural collaboration like this, we need someone like her continue to be in power. 如果我们还要希望有这种 更多的聚会交流商机，那我们就更需要像他这种人在州里面越上的位置帮我们说话。大家说是不是？所以今天虽然这个是一个云南商会，这是一个旧金山的农会的活动，但我觉得我们不行做事情嘛，滴水之恩涌泉相报，我们做事情不行忘记创这两个会的人 ，right？ 创这两个会其实就是财长。那我也希望大家有钱出钱，有力出力，特别是钱，捐钱，真的。你不要去省这个钱，为什么？我告诉你，你这一辈子可能就是这一次机会了，真的。过了明年，你要再找出个他这样子的人，你找不到了。那时候你发财了，没用了。你要捐给谁？如果选不上，就选不上了。所以现在，如果你没钱，去信用卡借钱都叫借出来，这叫投资。Okay? For those of you, I'm going to do it in English. So it is very important that we give her a hand in terms of our effort, time, and money. More importantly, money. It takes money to win an election, right? I don't want to sort of overtaking the theme of this night, but it's important we have to give credit to the one who engendered all this. She's running for lieutenant governor. I ask that you support her. You know, this is not even spending money, this is investment. If you don't do it right now, you won't have a chance. You won't have another candidate in the next 10 years that can do what she has done, that will care about us as much as she cared. Okay, so it's Fiona Ma Da. Easy, FionaMa.com. Go there, scan. If you don't have money right now, put it in the credit card. It's investment, it will come back. Okay, back to this. Now, I'm here to talk about the opportunity of California, really. I am also indebted to her. Because of her, I have learned a lot more about California. California is a vibrant, dynamic economy. It's the fourth largest one. So, in particular, through our close connection, friendship, I learned about one or two things about California real estate investment. Okay, so in California, as you know, in the past recent years, the malls, some commercial property, especially malls and apartments, have been their value have dropped a lot, right? 在过去几年呢，加州的商业地产，特别是商场啊，还有写字楼，价值掉得很低。Reason being pandemic, so less tenant, right? More people work at home. Number 2, rise of interest rate. Number 3, emergence of e-commerce. All this reason combined to make tenant number drop. Therefore, value of those property drop. That's fact number 1. 很多原因，不管是疫情也好啊，还是电商也好啊，还是利息的关系，所以商场跟写字楼价值掉了很多。这是第一个客观事实。第二个客观事实是什么？ The second fact is that why hasn't residential property dropped? 为什么我们普通的住房的价钱没掉 ？Because we're in housing shortage. 因为加州是非常缺房的。I think the last time I checked, California is in short of 2.5 million units of housing. We only have 40 million population. We're short 2.5 million housing. 加州是一个严重缺房的一个州。我们缺250万套房，就是民用房啊。加州4000万人口缺250万套，所以为什么房源不够，造成它房价不跌？那所以这个机会就出来了。所以加州政府呢 ，in the past, I think in the past few years, 2022, 2023 especially, California's legislature passed a series of laws that encourage local government to turn some of the unutilized mall or commercial property to be rezoned into residential property, or what they call mixed use. Even in real estate, you know that. 所以这个机会就来，因为加州政府呢，为了要解决房源问题，所以过去几年推出了很多新的政策，去鼓励地方政府把不用的商业用地转成就商转住，这个机会就出来。所以很多 mall 呢，你看得到，我们过去我跟 Tina 也合作，我们买了一个 mall 在 Simi Valley。 那个 mall 呢，2005年建的时候是1.9亿美金建的。那个 mall 现在还有那个商场，现在是42个 acre，42英亩那么大。那个商场呢，现在还有租金500多万美金的租金一年，我们用3800万美金拿到。然后我们现在向政府申请的，把它转成部分，把它转成租。像这个就是很好的机会 ，OK？ 那如果你想要了解更多的话，你可以找我的伙伴 Tina， 好不好？这是我观察到的一个很好的商机。第二个商机就是，虽然中美两边不管是谁当总统啦，部分的制造业，我的观察是一定会回到美国的。Okay, so it doesn't matter who is the president. I think through my observation, some manufacturing capacity will be back to U.S. Some, I don't know how much. Probably not the one that makes sneakers and T-shirt, but something. 所以我觉得现在制造业在美国也是一个很好的机会，尤其美国过去你们知道中国过去30年、20年做了很多基础建设，是吧？In past 2 decades, in the past 20 years, 30 years, China has gone through a lot of infrastructure investment. They built bridges, they built high-speed rails, they built airports. Do you know how many airports were built in the last 50 years in the United States? Does anybody know? 大家有知道过去50年美国建了几个机场吗？ Actually, a little bit more. Two. San Jose Airport was built way more than the expansion, but not new airport. New airport 2. 美国这么大，过去50年只建了2个机场，所以常常你看，你如果20年前来旧金山，现在来旧金山感觉没有变啊，就多了一个 Salesforce Building， 是吧？那现在要变了，加州的 infrastructure 也旧了，加州的比如说电网好了 ，The California Electric Grid was built in 1939, we're still using it now。加州的电网是1939年建的，我们现在还在用，所以加州政府也好，美国政府也好，商人也好，都会把这些，你要把制造业回归，你就必须要把基础建设拉回来。我觉得这个是我可能未来50年难得一见的一个商机，因为我们今天是商会嘛，我们讲商机嘛，所以我建议大家注意2件事情。第一件事情呢，就是加州的商转住的这个机会；第二件事情就是基础建设，还有那个 manufacture。财长这边有很多政策可以帮助你们。I know Treasurer's Office has many programs that help small business in California. One of them is I believe it's called collateral protection loan. Collateral support. 如果你有个公司在加州75个 750 employee or less, right? 750个员工以下，加州政府可以给你2000万美金的支持，就是如果你没有东西抵押，他可以帮你抵押2000万美金，这是他办公室里面的政策哈。所以大家可以去他的网站 ，go to her website, it's all there。所以就是这是商会嘛，所以跟大家分享一下我的观察，好不好？谢谢。然后大家如果要更详细了解的话，就找你们的会长 Tina 就好。好，谢谢。
Hi, Angela。不好意思，没看到。待会儿再重新照一次相。
Thank you so much, Stephen, for sharing that with us. It is now my honor to welcome to the stage the Mayor of Millbrae, Anders Fung. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Good to see everybody. This is wonderful. Okay, let me just kind of make sure Stephen did a good job in squeaking through this little space right here and be able to speak as long as you have. This is wonderful. Welcome to Millbrae, everybody. And I see many leaders, obviously, our beloved treasurer in the audience today. Thank you for joining us today, Fiona, driving all the way from Sacramento, joining us today at Millbrae. Always welcome your presence, and it makes us feel good to see our Fiona Ma joining us in the audience. Also, thank our former Assembly member, Kenson Chu, joining us today. Obviously, there's Daisy joining us. And Millbrae always welcome both of you, and it's so wonderful to see everyone in the audience today, joining us today, talking about green agriculture and how U.S.-Chinese relationship can enhance our economy, and also bringing more about collaborations between the two countries. As we all know, a better U.S.-Chinese relationship means better business relationship for both countries. We always wanted to find ways to reduce trade barriers so that both countries and all our businesses can thrive, which is something that, and I believe that a good relationship in the two countries need to start at every level of our government, including our local government. And we're here we're blessed. Just Stephen was saying that a moment ago, how airports need to get built. We're right next to the San Francisco International Airport, which we knew a vast majority of our businesses come from the Pacific Rim trade and also the Pacific Rim travel. And having a vibrant relationship with Asian Pacific countries, it benefits the Bay Area and certainly benefits the city of Melbourne as a whole, and certainly benefits California, which is now the 4th largest economy in the world, just surpassing Japan. And just as obviously our state officials, their offices and their effort for many, many decades, as well as my office here in the city of Melbourne, we're always here to create pathway to success for our businesses. California, my understanding, is open for business, I'm sure. And so does San Mateo County and also city of Melbourne. So thank you for joining all of us today and this first year anniversary of this Yunnan General Chamber of Commerce. As new as you are, and as vibrant as you are, and as committed as all of you are in the audience today, in enhancing our opportunity and in fostering greater economic ties and business opportunities for the two countries and for all of our small businesses, small, medium, or large businesses here in the Bay Area. I'm thankful for your cooperations and your commitment. And so I just have a certificate of commendation for the organizing committee. And if I can have you on the audience. And thank you very much for joining all of us today. And your presence makes Melbourne better and San Mateo County better and also California better. Thank you, all of you. Have a great conference today. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, everyone. Now we get to move to the screens, and we're going to be hearing from some experts all over the world talking about agriculture and various opportunities. So our first speaker is Alvaro Martinez de la Vega, Food Safety Assurance and Food Industry Regulations in Asia. Hopefully we don't have too many of our COVID era Zoom trouble.
Yep. Hi everyone. Hi everybody. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you ready? Are we ready to present?
Yeah, I'm ready. Thank you.
Jenny, I think we're ready, Jenny.
Okay, can you hear me? Yep, it's time. For me, hello everybody. For me, it's a real honor to be here, invited for this first anniversary of the American Yunnan General Chamber of Commerce and the California Green Agriculture Development Forum. It's an honor to be here and to be invited for a group of friends. And I feel so happy because this is the clear example that we can work together for our food. This is a very interesting meeting. Who invite us to join us to feed the world. And of course, this is a high work that we have in the near future to feed more and more and more people around the world, especially to China and to Asia. So this is our short story. We are País 21 NGO. We are a very interesting NGO. We were working with the small farmers, and of course, we were working for 20 years, working every day, every single day. Next slide, please. Thank you. Next one. Thank you. Okay. We had contacts worldwide. We were talking with some friends in analysts in Asia, Europe, South America, Central America, the United States, Canada, contact and talk with them about food, about the green development, and of course the green agriculture with them. And having these contacts, we were talking with many friends from China, and this is for me, to have this chance to talk about to talk about this beautiful province in China that is part of my conversation at this time. Next one, please. Thank you. Around our 20 years working, we have many decorations and recognitions. This is because we were working for the people and for farmers, small farmers. We work with them, and we would like to share just with this short, slides that how can we work with them and with these small farmers. We have Alexander von Humboldt, decorations, and of course another ones. And as you can see, the Stanford Social Innovation Review talks about that we are a very innovation NGO, and this is so important for us. And of course, with another ones that knows our work with the people, with indigenous people, and of course with many ethnics people around South America and in other countries as well. And this is a reason to talk with you and with this spectacular moment to share our experience. Thank you. Next one, please. Okay, we have a huge work to do. By the 25th year, the United Nations said that we need to feed 10 billion people. And this is a huge work. And Asia is going to have 3 billion people living in Asia Pacific. So País 21 is talking about what we're going to do to work about it. And this is a very important to talk about to have, green agriculture crops for everyone. But we need, to move in that way because it's a few food that we are eating around the world that is not the green one. So we need to work together to have this view, and we need to be close and to share experiences with farmers, with scientists, and of course, we need to know that everything needs, a special financial commitment to have, the food that we need for the 25th year. Talking about Brazil, Brazil is a very special country, and as you know, Brazil has now a production of 82 million tons. The demand for food has put enormous pressure to Brazil. Brazil used to send in this side of the global of the earth the food that Asia needs, but they have, a very important problems right now because it can take years to close a food contract with many, companies in Brazil. We were talking with our group and with our team in the United States and Brazil and South America and with our allies that it's not easy to talk with many companies in Brazil to have a contract, clear contact. So this is a goal to have a clear opportunity for the Asia or Chinese companies. This is a very important point of view to consider because in the next slide I will explain what are we talking about. And of course, they have now a serious logistical problems. Asia represents, let's remember, Asia represents approximately 60% of the world population. So we need 20, 220 million tons of food per year to meet. Yep, in that side of the world. So Brazil, this half is world, and they can move so fast for the needs that the Asia needs for food. So Asia is expecting to have additional 250 million people in the 2050 year. It's a lot of people that we need to work with, together about that. Next slide, please. What we are doing until now. Colombia, I'm living now in Colombia, and we are thinking about now an alliance to feed Asia Pacific. Of course, we're talking about Asia and China, of course. But the agro-industrial production for Asia Pacific, now we have a clear examples that Bison Tuner is working on. Bison Tuner currently developing food projects that is going to produce 6.5 thousand metric tons annually. That many Chinese companies is asking us, Alvaro, could you help us to find, soybeans per month, 25 metric tons? Because we can get it in Brazil or we can get it in Argentina, for example. And another, request is about, cassava flour, for example. This is a work that this is information that we have in the last 2 years. We have around 50 meetings with many companies and supporting Chinese companies to have a clear contract, but it's not easy to do that. That's the reason to show you that País 21 is working in Colombia to help or to produce together with many Chinese companies and to share experiences, and technologies about it. Another one is, about sugar, IQ sugar 2025 is it's a huge problem that we had about it, but we can solve here now. Page 21 is now working with a national net that it could take, we can share or talk with leaders that they lead around 150,000 producers in Colombia. We work with banks, with investment funds to have a clear, financial commitment to have this production for Asia. We are, concerned about it, and it's also appropriate to say that we have in Colombia an agriculture culture because we work with professionals, with scientists, with technical systems, with financial and legal expertise to have a clear opportunity to work with Chinese friends that we used to have this meeting during the last 2 years. Next slide, please. Colombia. We are in the corner. We are in a very special corner Just to see, we are, near from Panama, and we have two areas or regions. That one of them is the Caribbean region. Over there, we have 1.3 million hectares that we are not using now. They are, we don't produce anything there, and we need to produce there the food that the world needs. And of course, there's another one that is the central region. Over there, we have 200,000 hectares to produce, and we can produce in these both regions, fruits, rice, soybeans, bananas, fruit trees, sugar, livestock, seafood, cassava flour, everything we needed. So we were talking with the government, with the national government, and with the regional government, if we have an idea or a project to produce for the world, and everybody is ready to do that. So to share with you this expertise is to know more about Colombia. It could have a solution, a green solution. I mean, is your focus, and we are working now in that way. Of course, we were talking. I'm talking about 20 years, 28 years working in green projects. Next slide, please. So conclusions. Colombia has a great potential for sustainable food production. Colombia has a long tradition of agriculture and livestock farming. The food production regions are close ports, distribution centers, and with good logistic capacity. We have 5 or 6 ports in Colombia that could be used for this agriculture projects. Fair international trade agreement is needed. We need a fair trade, and under it, international market fluctuations, and this limit most sales and purchase by new marketplaces due to speculative abuses. This is very important. We need a clear, relationship, a long relationship, because we have to have a point of view for 5 or 10 or 20 years to work together to feed the world. This is very important. This is not project for 1 year. We need to talk in the future. País 21 is a high reliable platform that can leverage its institutional capacity for sustainable and food production for Asia Pacific. Of course, I'm talking about China. And we talk about one friend from Japan, of course. Colombia has the potential to grow food of 39 million hectares. It's information from our agriculture ministry. We have this capacity, 39 million hectares to produce food. So we have a huge areas to start. So this is an opportunity for all of us. We are connected with the Asia Pacific. We have ports to connect directly with the Asia Pacific, with China, and we can use it that. So this is my conclusions, and thanks again. Thank you. The next slide to close. Thanks to everyone. My name is Álvaro Martínez de la Vega, and I'm the director of País 21 Foundation. And we are to talk and to help with this relationship. And thanks a lot to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alvaro, for joining us from Colombia. We're so honored to have you. Next, we're going to be hearing from Kathy from D&K Green Trading. She will be speaking about American produce farming on business challenges and her growing story. Kathy, you have 10 minutes. Please keep track of the time because we have a lot of people that are going to be speaking. We're very excited. And also, so we can all hear you clearly, try your best to be close to your microphone and speak clearly and loudly. We're so excited to hear from you, and we want to make sure the whole audience can hear you. All right, Kathy, are you ready? Kathy, can you hear us? Oh, you're here in person. I'm so sorry. My mistake. I thought you were online. This is even better. We get to hear from her in person.
By the way, I'm not Kathy.
Oh, who are you?
I'm Chi. I'm here representing the Chinese farmers in California. My name is Chi Zhou. Can we go back to the first slide? Thank you. Since I only have 10 minutes, I will start here. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. And thanks for the invitation to speak here. My name is Chi Zhou. I am a program manager at California Resource Conservation District, CARCD. I think today we're having a very diverse audience, so I assume most of you are not aware of what this means. So we are a nonprofit organization funded by government, and my work is supporting the government and helping the farmers and ranchers to be successful in their farming business, while in the meantime improve the environmental health. For example, providing financial assistance to the farmers and ranchers so that they can purchase compost and apply compost to the farm field to improve the soil, and help them to improve the irrigation system so that they can save water and improve the environment, and also grow more crop in the greenhouse so that they can limit their negative impact brought by their pesticides. So I grew up in China. I got my master's and bachelor's and master's in China, and came here for my PhD. Got my PhD in South Carolina. And so because of my cultural background and my language skills, I speak Mandarin. So I put majority of my work supporting my own community, supporting the Chinese farmers in California. So in my cell phone, I have around 160 farmers. They are Chinese farmers, and they call me all the time. So a majority of those farmers, they are located in the Bay Area along the coast, with several of them from the San Diego County, Kent County, and Riverside counties too. And so I'm here today representing the farmers, but before I do that, I'm here to explain what kind of challenges they have when they're farming, and what kind of how they struggle but yet survive in California, the high competitive farming system in California. And also looking forward in the future 10 years or 20 years, what kind of beautiful pictures they might have. And but before I do that, I wanted to introduce one of the farmer representatives here, Kathy Cho. She actually is here. Kathy Cho is one of the successful farmers in California Bay Area, and she and her husband has been farming a 400-acre farms in Gilroy, located in Santa Clara County. And I know Cassie has been passionate about farming since her young age, and she has been dedicated herself in supporting the Chinese farming community in the Bay Area. Kathy, can you wave to everyone so that everyone can see you? Thank you, Cassie. Can we actually go to one of the slides? So I'm here to talk about the challenges and barriers of those Chinese farmers. I think the first challenge I wanted to talk about is the high competition from different other countries. For example, Mexico. As we know, the average labor cost for a U.S. worker is around $16 to $20 per hour, and plus benefits, and that is much higher compared to the Mexico label, and which makes our produce have a much higher cost, and it's hard to compete with the produce from Mexico. And in California, in the Bay Area, we have a cold winter for around 5 months, and the cold weather slows down the growth for the vegetables, meaning that the farmers have a longer crop cycle, and which increase the price for our produce. So it's hard to compete with the Mexico. Well, so you will see in the summer, the produce, the vegetables and fruits from the Chinese farmers sells well, but during the winter, all the cheap products from Mexico floods in and take over the market. And another challenge I wanted to talk about is the unpredictable weather in California. So in California, like I said, most of those Chinese farmers, they are located in the Bay Area along the coast. So which means they have to constantly deal with high winds. So, and also sometimes the storms. I remember the most recently severe storm is happening in January 2023. And that storm leaving lots of damaged greenhouse, flooded agriculture field, and destroyed vegetables that the farmers can sell. I remember I received hundreds of phone calls and pictures from the farmers asking me if I can help them to get support from the government on their storm damage. And we also, as we all know, that California is one of the driest states in United States, which means that those farmers have a much higher electricity bills to pump water to irrigate the crops. And during the summer, it's extremely dry, so the farmers have a much higher electricity bill that they have to pay. And I think the last time that we have an extremely dry weather is in the 2022 summer, that a lot of Chinese farmers can't afford to pump the water. The next challenge, for some reason, the slides is not working today. So the next challenge I wanted to talk about is the language barriers and the discrimination that they're facing when they're farming. So thank you so much. So the language barriers is hitting hard on those Chinese farmers. Like I said, there are many, many successful programs from the government, both from the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, and CDFA, California Department of Food and Agriculture. Those programs provide significant support to the farmers and ranchers to help them be successful in the business. But because of the huge language barriers, most of those Chinese farmers, they are not aware of those wonderful programs, leaving those programs only benefiting the white farmers and only the farmers who speaks English and have the capacity to apply themselves. So another barrier is the discrimination. The Chinese farmers has been experiencing discrimination during every process of their farming, finding a contract, accessing farmland, and also marketing too. So it's, I have heard so many stories about agricultural land owners and realtors too, screening the candidates based on the race, which is unfortunate. So the next challenge I want to talk about is the U.S.-China trade tensions since 2018. And it has brought many negative impacts to the Chinese farmers. Higher tariffs means everything is more expensive, right? Including the seeds, fertilizers, and any other farming supplies and materials for the greenhouses. Everything is more expensive. And according to the statistics from the USDA, the farming cost average farming cost for the past 5 years have increased over 20%. So that's a big increase. And also the unstable trade tensions also bring a lot of uncertainties to the Chinese farmers, leaving the wholesalers, especially those ones sell to the abroad buyers, cancel the order with Chinese farmers, leaving them with unsold produce. Next page, please. Thank you. despite all those challenges, I think we still have hope. I want to talk about 3 hopes. The first one is technology and knowledge exchanging with colleagues from China. And last year, several of the Chinese farmers in the Bay Area visited a strawberry farm in Yunnan province in China. And I know Cassie Cho has been working on bringing those technologies into China, because into the Bay Area, because they have been growing strawberries, high quality strawberries, very sweet, very colorful, and very fragrant strawberries, and using the greenhouse and data to monitoring the water needs, the nutrients needs, and the light needs for the plant, so that they can have best strawberries. I know Cassie is working on this, bring those to the Bay Area, and we look forward to seeing more collaborations on this. And then the next hope is as we know, the Asian communities in California and also in the States has been growing. And according to ChatGDP, for the past 10 years, there is the Chinese population, and including the Chinese American population in California, has increased 33%. So increasing Asian communities means increasing demands for those fresh produce, right? So I think the market is going to be looking good. And then with increasing of the Asian communities, I was hoping, let's all hope, that more Chinese representatives will sit on the government agencies and bring those resources to the farmers and ranchers. Thank you. So here are some more pictures. I think this is a picture that showing that we are hosting workshops to introduce financial assistance programs to Chinese farmers in the Bay Area. Next. And this is introducing some of the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, their technical assistance programs to Chinese farmers in the Bay Area. Next. So I have been working with this community for 6 years, and for the past 6 years, I have scheduled hundreds of field visits with different farmers, kind of bringing the technical assistance providers to those farmers and bring the legislative representatives to the farmers to kind of directly talking to the farmers and listening what kind of needs they have. And I believe those are some of the farm visits too. Next. And I also brought some Chinese farmer representatives, travel to Washington, D.C., talk to the USDA representatives there, tell them what their needs are, what their struggles are, so that someone is listening, especially for those legislative representatives. I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you, and let's all hope that we will have more representatives in the government. And thank you so much, Fiona Ma.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. As a very casual buyer of produce, I really don't think much about where my produce is coming from. So I really felt like I learned a lot from you. I'm very excited for the work that your group is doing. All right, next, we're very excited. We're going to be back to the online speaker. We have Shannon Douglas, the president of the California Farm Bureau. She will be speaking about the business opportunities and government policy of the farming and agricultural industry. And Shannon, you have 15 minutes. And again, please speak as clearly as you can and as close to the mic as you can. And are you ready and can you hear us?
I am. I can hear you guys well. Hopefully you can hear me well.
So far, so good. Thank you. Go ahead.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to get to speak to one of the groups that Fiona ropes us into. I would say we all love Fiona, and she is so good at collaborating and bringing people together. So glad to be a part of this. I'm Shannon Douglas. I'm the president of the California Farm Bureau. And Farm Bureau represents about 26,000 farmers across the state. We represent farmers of all shapes and sizes and all across. So from the very north part of the state in Del Norte and Modoc counties, all the way to Ventura and San Diego counties. We represent farmers who are large farmers, some who are very small farmers, and really everybody in between. Personally, I live and farm up in Northern California. And for those of you guys that are new or visiting, of course, the divide of where Northern and Southern California is often up for debate. But I live about 100 miles north of Sacramento. And we farm in the North Sacramento Valley. We farm beef cattle, so we're raising cattle, mother cows basically, and then we're selling beef. We have hay crops that we're growing to feed dairy cows, etc. In a normal year, we would grow sunflower seeds for seed, but that's markets changing. As you can imagine, we've got some changing markets in California right now. And we grow walnuts as well. So a variety of those products are things that we at their end goal is heading to China and to a variety of our other international partners. So glad to be able to connect and visit with you all today. I wanted to share a few things about California agriculture and how we farm here, as well as especially on the challenges of farming here. And we heard some notes from the last couple of speakers. I heard Fiona make a few notes worth highlighting, and then the last speaker as well. So we have over 400 crops that we grow in California. We are tremendously diverse. This includes many nut crops. Of course, dairy is a very big product in our state, as is other livestock, primarily beef cattle, but we also have sheep and goats and even some hogs and poultry, of course, in the state. A lot of fruits. That's everything from berries like strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, table grapes, of course, included in that too, tons of different melons. That's especially along the coast, all the way down to in Monterey. I'll be there tomorrow where they have artichokes and a whole lot more. And then, of course, production like hays, things like we grow, cotton, of course, in California too. But California is very different than what you might see if you were visiting any of our Corn Belt states in the Midwest, where they are growing a lot of corn and soybean and some cattle and hogs. We don't grow nearly as much of those, very little corn in California, actually almost no soybeans at all, but a whole lot of very diverse specialty crops. We're able to grow these diverse crops because of the unique climate we have here and the diverse soil types. So from top to bottom in this state, and it's a big state, so if you guys get to see some of it, if we drive top to bottom, it's about 10 hours really, depending on traffic, of course, to get from the very top of our state to the bottom, just going down Interstate 5. So we are a big state. And tremendously different soil types because of a variety of the interesting geology that we have in the state. We have great access to transportation. We're really thankful for that. The ports in our state are very important to us. And we do have great water. Now, we don't always have tremendous ability to move our water. That's one of the challenges that we have. Most of the rain that we get in California falls in the north part of the state. And what we have to do is try to get it to farmers all across the state. So about Interstate 80, which comes into San Francisco. North of that is where a majority of our rainfall falls, and it's where our largest water reservoirs are. Then our challenge is transporting that water through a system of canals in the state down to the rest of the state so they're able to grow food. So in regards to the challenges in our state, and you heard Fiona mention about water, I believe was one of the things anyway she mentioned in her comments. And I wanted to make that note about the challenges of that movement of water, because there are years we have plenty of it and we have this ability to store it primarily above ground, but we also have great underground aquifers that we can store water in as well. But moving it, it becomes our challenge. And so getting it to the farmers who need it at the right times is a real challenge. In the Midwest, if you've ever traveled there, they get rainfall all summer long. So they don't typically have to irrigate. The rainfall is what feeds their crops. Where in California, we got rain, I think the last weekend in April was the last rain we had, and we probably will not see additional rainfall as far as it actually falling from the sky until October or even November. So the summer will not have any rainfall for us, but we'll be relying on irrigation water to do that. The last speaker was talking about the labor costs and those challenges, and I wanted to add a few notes to that because I thought she made some really good points there. Mexico is, of course, one of our biggest competitors, and they can also grow some great produce down there. Their labor from a combination of their accessibility for people to pick and harvest, but also because of the regulatory environment they have, are vastly different. Typically, the wages in Mexico are under $5 an hour. Is the cost to the farmer. And as you heard the last speaker mention, she was talking about the $16 an hour. That's actually the wage. However, as Californians, we actually have to pay even more than that because we have to pay workers' compensation, which is a form of insurance on top of that. We have to pay just our payroll costs, our payroll taxes, additional insurance. So typically our costs of labor is more like $25 an hour. To give you an idea of that comparison. So when we're competing against farmers in Mexico and their labor is five-ish, if we even use that, dollars an hour, and we're paying more like 25 as our cost, they have a real significant advantage in terms of labor. But it's a lot more than just labor as far as the regulatory environment. So when I say regulatory, I'm talking about basically the rules that the government puts onto farmers in California. And we have a lot of rules rather, of course, in the United States overall. And so with all of our pesticides are run through the Environmental Protection Agency of the United States. But in California, we have an additional layer, and we have a California EPA that also regulates our pesticides. So if for example, it's about the time because we had that rain. So we've actually used what we would call crop protection materials, but different types of pesticides that's commonly that we would use on our orchard that's outside my office right now because of that late rainfall we had. But to do that, not only is the product have to be approved and registered with the US EPA, but it also has to be approved here in California for use. That's an additional layer all those companies have to do. That recommendation has to be written by a licensed professional that's not my husband or I, not someone on the farm, but they have to write out the recommendation as far as what products can be applied, how they can be applied, what you have to wear when you apply them, what you have to watch out for with wind speed, the method, so that if we were hand spraying it or if we're using some sort of a tractor or spray equipment, but it's very, very prescribed, times a day, etc. And then the person applying it, that typically would be my husband, he also has to have a particular license that allows him to apply those products. So we have a lot of layers of regulation that add to our cost as California farmers. That also, of course, includes food safety. We have very strict food safety rules in California. We have actually a lot of land use rules too. Sometimes we would prefer we have fewer of those. And our water, as we were talking about earlier, remains a big concern. That's a matter of we have some rules in California about how much we can pump, basically. And then we, of course, got power restrictions and things like that, and the cost of power, as that last speaker was mentioning. So this combination of factors really influence what we can grow and in what part of the state. And one of the things I often give as an example is I'm again in the north part of the state, and I happen to have what I would call my home orchard. So I have fruit trees that we grow just for our family to enjoy, as many of you guys might have a garden in your backyard. And I can grow fantastic peaches where we live. We can grow absolutely delicious peaches that I share with the office and our family and friends, etc. But because we are so far north in the state, I don't have a reliable source of labor to pick those peaches when they're ripe. So for me, peaches are not an option for us to grow because we simply, food safety would be another issue as well, but primarily because I don't have reliable labor at the right time of the year. And peaches, if you guys have enjoyed wonderful peaches, they are very delicate when they're harvested. We cannot shake those out of the tree onto a conveyor belt and not have bruised and banged up, frankly, peaches. So those still have to be hand harvested. The same thing with cherries. I grow great cherries here, but I don't have a reliable way to get those picked. So those types of factors really limit what we can grow in California. and depending on the part of the state that you're in. A lot of the labor challenges are why, and some of the water challenges are why we have so many nuts growing in California. So we appreciate everybody who's enjoying our California walnuts, especially me as a grower, our California almonds, our pistachios, etc. Because those products we are able to mechanically harvest. We can bring a harvester in, we can shake the nuts out of the tree. Nuts don't get bruised nearly as easily, of course, as peaches do. And so that's led to a lot of the changes that we've seen in our state. I'll also make just a couple of notes about we have a lot of organic production in California. A lot of that ties to our consumers. So you guys are there in the San Francisco area where we have consumers with frankly great tastes, and they have a lot of preferences in the types of food that they want and want to be able to access. And they have led in a lot of ways the demand for organic products. Organic products still do use types of fertilizers and pesticides. They're just not synthetic. So they also have to go through all that approval process that I was sharing about in regards to the Department of Pesticide Regulation. It's a very interesting time to be a California farmer right now. We've got a lot of pressures on us, as you guys have heard. And I wanted to share another piece before I forget too about these regulatory challenges we have. So we were able to, as farm bureaus in different parts of the state, Monterey County in particular, worked with one of the universities on the coast, Cal Poly, that has a great ag school. And they took a look at what the costs of regulation were for California farmers. And we took a look at how much that had increased. So they did the first study in about 2006. Looking at mid-sized lettuce farms on the Central Coast, so in general Monterey, Salinas area. And then they went back and looked again in 2016. And they actually did a follow-up study that they published in January of this year, where they looked at the most recent 8 years. So they looked at about 18 years total. And we found that the regulatory costs have increased by almost 1,400% in just 18 years. So that regulatory burden that our California farmers face is very significant. It's increased at a higher rate than really any of the, well, actually many of the states don't even look at their regulatory costs because theirs are so much lighter than ours. But it's been very drastic, and it's been a real large burden on our California farmers. In fact, we've actually seen in California, in the last 10 years, we lost about 20% of the farms in the state. Those farms either closed down or they potentially lost the business, unfortunately. Maybe they retired and their kids didn't choose to take over. But we've lost 20% of our farms, and we think it's very correlated to that increasing in costs on our farms, particularly right now. Our commodity prices are not doing so well, as many of you guys can imagine. I was talking to a farmer actually earlier today while I was in Sacramento at our office there, and beef is a good place to be right now. That's a good market. Organic dairy is a pretty good market. So if you're selling milk that's certified organic, but beyond that, most of our commodities are not in a great spot and are not at an area that is generating income right now. So with that, I know that's not the best note to be wrapping on, but I'd be happy if there's any questions or if there's anything you would like to hear covered, or Fiona, if you have anything that I missed that you wanted to hear me talk about, I am happy to add.
Wow.
Thanks, Fiona.
Shannon, thank you so much. That was wonderful. All right. Next, we're going to move on to Dr. Bruce Pickering. He is the director of the University of California Inland California Innovation Project. And Dr. Pickering is a seasoned leader in U.S.-China relations, known for fostering cross-cultural dialogue and policy exchange. So we're very excited to hear from him. His topic today is California's emerging bioeconomic model and its potential relevance for California-China relations. Thank you, Dr. Pickering.
Thank you very much. I am acutely aware of the time, so I will try and be brief. But go ahead and just go to the first slide if you wouldn't mind. So I lead a project that is actually a 4-campus University of California initiative, Berkeley, Davis, Merced, and Riverside. And if you look at California, it covers the sort of, I think everybody knows the geography of our state. But if you look at the regions of California that are inland, they are, next slide please. Next slide please. There's a big economic divergence between the regions. In fact, it's remarkable how different they are. So we're working with the Public Policy Institute of California, Carnegie Foundation, California Forward, and other institutions to identify where the real areas of need are. And if you look at this, on the coast, if you live 10 miles from the coast in California, you're doing really well. You probably have a job. It's probably a good job. Probably vote Democratic. But if you're inland, it flips. And it's actually remarkable. So statewide, it's $77,000. But if you look down there, we're actually about a third. And this actually can even be more precisely measured. I used U.S. Census data. So next slide, please. So you can look at here in, are we in San Mateo or Santa Clara County? San Mateo, right? So that's the annual income for a family of 4. But if you go inland, you're actually in line with Mississippi, Alabama, and West Virginia. That's what the annual income, except, an important caveat, is the average price of a house in California is $786,000. In Mississippi, West Virginia, and Alabama, it's a lot cheaper. So there's a reason that the inland regions of California are really staggering. And what we set out to do in this initiative was to identify what the answers would be. And I'll get to this in a little bit, but we looked at 3 countries that have had similar issues: Israel, Japan, and Denmark. Next slide, please. And by the way, this slide just demonstrates how the inland regions really do hurt, and the difference, the cost of living differential between those with jobs doing well and those without. Next slide, please. So many Californians, of course, see this as actually not getting better. They see it as getting worse. The interesting thing is that we actually realize now is that the best news is that these inland regions have a lot of room to grow. You're not going to get a lot of bang for the buck on the coast. You will get a lot of bang for the buck in Central California. And there is an answer to this. So next slide, please. So this is the basic, the bioeconomy, and it's already happening. But the question is, what can we do to facilitate it and maintain California as a front runner in that? And 3 countries, these 3 countries I mentioned: Israel, it's looking at water. Japan is looking at labor issues. The average person in Japan, farmer in Japan, is 80 years old now. And then actually, for Denmark, it's what's called the triple helix. Next slide, please. The first guy to see this was Steve Jobs. I found that an absolutely fascinating quote. Steve Jobs saw this intersection as being one of the critical issues. Next slide, please. And this is the bioeconomy, and this is what we didn't start out to make a case for the bioeconomy, but that's where we wound up. And the bioeconomy is basically saying, let's go beyond food to create textiles, pharmaceuticals, energy, other advanced products, and particularly biomass. You can't burn it any longer, so you got to do something with it, and it's actually a hugely valuable a hugely valuable potential for the bioeconomy. Next slide, please. So California's inland regions already have many, many advantages. They're not least of which is proximity to the coast. If you're growing corn in Nebraska, you're a long way from any major research institutions, venture capital institutions, things like that. Here in California, it's all self-contained. And there's a reason we're the 4th largest economy in the world. It's because it's all here. Everything you might want is here. And we have a generally supportive policy environment. State legislators understand the importance of California's inland regions and are actually actively involved in trying to figure it out. And I know that Treasurer Ma knows that because she and I have actually talked about it. So these are actually areas of tremendous potential growth for the state, and instead of going into it, but you will note world-class universities is one of those factors, and that's a huge, I think, actually a hugely important advantage. Next slide, please. So here it is, just basically is that the Israel, Japan. The Danish case is really interesting. Denmark is the 2nd biggest exporter in the EU, despite having only 4.5 million people. It's a tiny country with a massive export market. And if you've heard of Ozempic, that's a Danish company, Novo Nordisk. But they're also export feedstock, pork, a bunch of stuff. And the way they've done it is to create an innovation-based export economy. And they've done it by creating what they call the triple helix, which is business, government, and academia working together to try and identify the key parties, key policies, and the key areas where they can all work together. We're actually going to go to Denmark probably in early September to discuss that with them, because it becomes an interesting model for our state, which is always innovative. So just something to point out. Next slide, please. So what is this relevance for China? Next slide, please. We have a long history of working with China. It goes back as long as any state. Of course, Chinese immigrants came here at the same time white immigrants came to California. Those connections are actually deep in the world of potential, the bioeconomy, bio-based products, partnerships, cross-border investments. The groundwork is there, the foundation is there. Next slide, please. So there's a great deal of alignment already. California and China both see the need to work and collaborate internally and externally on creating a better, a lower carbon footprint. Unfortunately not shared now by the federal government, but that doesn't change the fact that California is a good place for the Chinese to work with. I think somebody else mentioned that the Chinese actually see a degree of affinity in California. We see that too. So we both have carbon neutrality goals. We both use policy remedies to try and create that kind of an environment. Next slide, please. Academic and research, we work together. Joint research, Berkeley and Tsinghua have quite a deep partnership, and then we have a lot of students. I know that's attenuating. It's sad, but it's true. But in those areas where it's still happening, it's very important. Next slide, please. And we actually share many of the same goals. So my argument here, and I will keep this really brief, I'm happy to meet, chat, and talk about it further, is that there's a lot of areas in common we have with China, and California actually looks better as a model now than it would be, I think, in some ways, as if the federal government remained actually supportive. But it doesn't, and now we have a chance to chart our own path and actually look like the future, which is what California has always been and always does really well. And with that, one last, just shows who's involved in the project. It's pretty deep. And we are working with a lot of these major institutions, so it has a heavy focus. And the last thing I'll mention is it's going to end, the target ending is about January 15th. There's going to be a collaborative book. There will be a white paper targeted on the policy community to say these are the policies that would help California achieve these goals even more effectively than it's already doing, and then a conference in Sacramento on January 15th. Love to have you all there.
Thank you, Dr. Pickering. Haven't we just had some amazing speakers tonight? Can we get a round of applause for everyone so far? We still have some more amazing speakers coming up. I'm particularly excited, not because he's a better speaker or anything, you guys are all great, but because I love flowers. And our next speaker is Jonathan Chai. He's a botanical and horticultural consultant at Kunwei Consulting, and he's helping identify new flower varieties for the Chinese market, advising which are going to have strong breeding and development potential. So I love flowers. I'm excited about that. Thank you, sir. The mic is yours.
Thank you. So, hi everyone. Hope your week's going great. And my name is Jonathan Chai, and I'm here today to represent the Kunwei Consulting Services and the Yunnan Flower Industry Association to talk to you a little bit about the Yunnan. Slide going on. Excuse me. Oh, there we go. The Yunnan Flower Introduction Initiative, as well as just the flower industry in China overall. And I want to start us off with a video just to introduce us to the International Flora Trading Center in Yunnan, China, as well as just the flower market overall.
This is the building where I'll be looking for my answer. Kunming International Flora Auction and Trading Center. Those flowers are for the auction. There's an exhibition hall, shows everything about Kunming flowers. will see the warehouse where local producers bring flowers in, package and split them to 20 flowers a bundle.
All right, that's the video. Hopefully you got a better sense of what the flower trading auction house looks like and just how the flower market works in China. Now I just want to highlight some of our goals for the Flower Introduction Initiative. First and foremost, we're looking for unique flower varieties that we would like to introduce to the rapidly growing flower market in China. And as part of this initiative, we'd love to work with smaller scale U.S. flower breeders and individual hybridizers in introducing their varieties to the flower market in China. And finally, we love to facilitate and encourage the exchange as well as integration of various horticultural techniques between the US and China. And I'm just going to repeat this part in Chinese because it's a very important slide. 所以我们最重要的目标就是想引进一些独特的和有潜力的花卉品种到中国的花卉市场。然后我们想跟很多美国小型的育种商来合作，来引进这些品种。然后最后我们想要鼓励那些就是农业技术和就是花叶栽培技术的和中美的交换。And for those of you who haven't visited Yunnan, you might be wondering where it is. So here I got a map. It's on the southwestern corner of China, just bordering Myanmar, Laos, and Vietnam. If you get a little closer, you can see that horizontal red line arrow is the Himalayan range, and then you have this vertical range, which is the Hendun mountain range, which is the most prominent mountain range in the province of Yunnan. It actually contains the highest peak called the Meili Snow Mountain Range, which is above 22,000 feet. It's really high. And then if you go east, you see the capital, which is Kunming, as we mentioned earlier, which is a much lower elevation tropical area. And here are just some photos just to let you appreciate the beauty and the dynamic geography of the province. Bottom left, at lower elevations, you see a lot of these really colorful rice paddies where the weather is tropical or subtropical. In the middle is actually the Meili Snow Mountain Range I was mentioning earlier that's really high. And then on the right are these alpine flower meadows that you can see throughout the province at higher elevations. It's really a sight to behold. So, with this dynamic geography, you really have the steep elevation gradient, which basically means as you go up the mountain, you have, a super wide range of different climate zones from, the lowland tropical rainforests up to temperate, subalpine, and finally true alpine, which is just the mountaintop, very cold, windy, rocky, how you imagine a mountain to be. And this is actually reflected in the incredible flora and fauna diversity of the region. On the left, you can see some of the plants. On the top left, that's actually a rose species with these really gnarly dark red thorns. In the middle is a primrose native to the mountains of Yunnan. And the bottom left is the Himalayan blue poppy, which some of you might be familiar with. It's a really stunning garden subject. It actually does quite well in the Bay Area in Northern California. If you're into animals, you have the clouded leopard, the red panda, and I think several species of flying squirrels. So, if you're a naturalist kind of like me, it's a wonderful place to visit. I'm super excited because I'm going this summer. And now I just kind of want to draw a quick comparison between Kunming, Yunnan, which is the capital, and the Bogota, Colombia, which Mr. De La Vega actually was talking about earlier. So both of these regions actually, the reason I'm making this comparison is both of these regions have quite a similar climate. You can see that they're both quite high in elevation, and the weather is really tropical or subtropical, quite mild year-round. You can see that Kunming has a little bit lower elevation, but it does have very large bodies of water and sea breezes from the Pacific and Indian Ocean that really cools down the city. So it's actually known as the city of eternal spring for that reason. Yeah, so I just wanted to show that both of these places are wonderful places to grow plants of all varieties and types, whether it's crops or ornamental plants. And as you can imagine, with all that I talked about in terms of geography and the mild climate year-round, it's really a wonderful place for horticulture and flower variety development. Here are just some photos of the greenhouses near Kunming. Most of these greenhouses are run jointly by local research universities as well as local floriculture companies that work together to develop and trial new varieties. And in many of these cases, we're really shifting to a soilless or semi-soilless method of cultivating these plants, just to reduce contamination as well as, pests, insects, and, other stuff that we don't want in there. And you might already saw this in the video. This is the Kunming International Flora Auction Trading Center. That's a mouthful, but here are some photos and some more photos of the auction house as well as the gallery. And here I just want to talk about some stats regarding the auction center. It is the largest flower market in Asia and the second largest in the world, just behind the Netherlands actually. And it's a rapidly growing market, as you can see from the number of stems sold in 2020, which is around 1.4 billion stems. And that number almost doubled in 2023 to 2.34 billion stems. And this is also reflected in the annual sales, which is 185 million US dollars in 2020, and that jumped all the way up to 355 million in 2023. And just a little more about the auction center. So as of December 31st, 2023, 459 rose varieties have already been registered with the center. And every year that brings in a revenue about 48 million yuan, which is about $6.6 million just in patent fee, and just for the roses, not including other plant and crop varieties that are registered with the center. And as I mentioned earlier, some of the target varieties we're looking for introduction to China are ones that are unique and novel to the flower market in China. Some examples are roses, as I mentioned earlier, garden as well as cut flower varieties. And also gerbera, lilies, and lysianthus, but just anything that we might think might catch the eye of Chinese customers who are sometimes looking for a little more than just your average grocery store cut flowers or potted plants. And as I mentioned earlier as well, we really want to work with a lot of U.S. small-scale breeders and individual hybridizers who've been doing really wonderful work creating these wonderful flower varieties and helping them establish a market presence in China. And finally, we really want to make this process reciprocal as well. So we would love to introduce some Chinese flower varieties, such as primroses, lilies, and China is really known for its hybridization and tree peonies, which are just really beautiful flowers if you have the chance to search them up or see them in person. And this is the testimony from the current chairman of the International Flower Auction Center and the Flower Industry Association of our collaboration in the introduction of international flower varieties, mostly from the US and North America to China. And here I just want to mention a little more about our company, Kunwei. We were founded in 2017 in Hong Kong, but we also have offices in Kunming, Yunnan, and as well as in Southern California. We collaborated with many leading US companies in the past to introduce their crop and flower varieties into China. And we have successfully defended their patents in cases where it's been breached, so we would prevent further illegal propagation of these varieties. And now I just want to introduce our team. So this is Jenny, our CEO of Kunwei Consulting. And she's really expert in international patent laws and works very closely with the Yunnan Flower Industry Association to work on the introduction of these varieties. And in the past, she has worked with many leading U.S. companies such as Driscoll's and Bloomfresh in introducing their varieties to China and defending their patented varieties from when those patents have been breached. And this is our other partner, Donnie Don, who's also an expert in international patent law, having studied both U.S. and Chinese patents, and has also worked a lot with international companies in introducing varieties and defending their patent and managing those patents. And finally, we have me. I'm the botanical and horticultural consultant at Quinway Consulting. I actually come from an academic background, so previously I actually worked as the assistant curator at the Liberty High Bailey Conservatory, which is the biodiversity collection and teaching collection at Cornell University. And during my undergrad there, I also founded a botany club, which is really just based on, bring a passion for plants to the local community as well as to the student body, whether that's through horticulture or, the study of evolution or ecology. And and currently I'm really just trying to find new varieties that we can introduce to the Chinese floral market, as well as seeking out potential species and other varieties that, have a lot of potential for breeding as well as variety development. And I just want to give a big thank you to all of you for this presentation. And here are just some native wildflowers to Yunnan for you to enjoy.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Those are really pretty. I can't wait to go to Yunnan and see them. All right, coming up next, we're going to hear from Tyler Lyons, the Vice President of the San Francisco Farm Bureau. He's going to spend about 5 minutes giving us an introduction of the San Francisco Farm Bureau. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, everyone. I'd like to congratulate the AYGCC in their first year anniversary. We ourselves are a young organization in the Bay Area, going in our second year. Despite being young, we do have over 100 members, and that's thanks a lot to Fiona, who's a member as well, and Jasmine, there you are, really pushing it. Shannon did a great job earlier going over the larger California Farm Bureau and kind of the state of California agriculture. Really, the San Francisco Farm Bureau kind of focuses on a few areas. One's advocacy, and that's kind of on the urban farmer within San Francisco, helping them network, kind of hear their voice, kind of choose education. So that's, kids growing up in an urban environment don't get often to get in touch with agriculture and know where their foods come from, so education. And we actually have a wonderful program where we sponsor buses for them to go to the Cow Palace and kind of see that. And then also that is education for the larger California agriculture, learn more about stuff in San Francisco, of what's going on locally. And third is kind of an ag tech. We are sponsoring a ag tech event later in this year. Jake Winters is here. He's leading that charge. So again, we're young, but we're going forward, and it's great to be here. And then I'd like to introduce Jess Brown, our new executive director, to come up and speak afterwards.
Thank you, Tyler. I'm really honored to have the opportunity to serve as the executive director of the San Francisco Farm Bureau. I've had this position and currently have it in a couple of other counties south of this area. Well, in fact, also San Mateo, which we're in. The exciting thing about San Francisco Farm Bureau is that this is the first time the Farm Bureau, who's been in California for 111 years, the first time a Farm Bureau has started in San Francisco, and that is because of Fiona Ma. She realizes the importance of agriculture in California, and she brought it forward that there should be a Farm Bureau in San Francisco. It was amazing that she got all the support from all these farmers throughout the state to do this. And it's exciting to see that they're going to focus on educational opportunities for people of all ages to learn about agriculture, the technology, bring agriculture and technology together, and many other exciting things. So this is going to be a wonderful opportunity, but you can be a part of it. You can belong to the San Francisco Farm Bureau. You'd be invited to the events that go on up there, and you just need to go to the website. It's the abbreviation of San Francisco Farm Bureau, sffb.com. .org. I'm sorry, .org. Sorry. Okay. Or sign up with Jasmine right here. She is the person who has helped lead this membership effort, and she's calling all of our current members to see how everything is going for them. And then just on a brief little personal note, this has been a fascinating experience for me because a good friend of mine started his career with Driscoll in China, and he grew up just about 80 miles down the south. And he met a young woman over there, married her, came back to work for Driscoll's. They started their family, and they decided 2 years ago they wanted to raise their family back in Yunnan. So this is exciting for me to know more about that area, know where Lucas is. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We're so glad to have both of you here with us. And thank you again for Fiona for making that organization possible. All right, next, I would like to welcome Jeff Wang. He is the founder of 575 Mixian, 575 Yunnan Mixian. I haven't been to Yunnan yet, but I've heard a lot about the Mixian from Yunnan, so I'm excited to hear about this. 欢迎你来跟我们介绍。
Yeah, translate. 按照两国外交关系的惯例，这个我们在外交场合只能讲中文，不能讲英文。Translate.
According to the international diplomatic protocol, when we are engaging in country bilateral communication, I have to speak Chinese.
中美关系现在是全世界最重要的两个国家的关系，所以我不想犯错。
U.S.-China relationship is probably the most important relationship in the world. That's why I'm not taking any chances in making mistaken translation.
OK， 我是 Fiona 马的粉丝。
I'm a big fan of Fiona Ma.
OK， 我想表达的是，加州对小企业主是不友好的。
I want to express that it's my observation that California is usually not perceived as being friendly to small businesses.
Yeah， 所以我捐给他的款是我能捐的款的最高款项。
And that's why when I make a contribution to support her, I max out.
因为我们要发出自己的声音，我们希望通过我们的努力，参与到这个政治里边，可以改变一些法律的这样环境，令到我们小企业更能很好的生存在加州。
And the reason why I do that is I want to use that, my contribution, as an expression of my devotion to support someone who cares about small businesses.
Yeah， 所以如果在座的你们是小企业主的话，不要忘了捐款给我们未来的副州长 Fiona 马。
So if you are among the small business owners, do not forget to support our future Lieutenant Governor.
因为我们有可能会改变加州的法律环境，有可能改变加州的历史。
We might just possibly make a real change in how California treats small business.
OK， 在美国，选总统玩的都是举手游戏。
In U.S., I observed that, in presidential election, most of us Chinese, we simply raise our hands.
所以一定要重视你手中的这一票，我们一定要支持对的官员。
But that hand is very important, very valuable. Do care about who you vote, and do care about who you support.
Yes， 要发出我们自己的声音。
We have to express our voice.
OK， 现在我以一个 rapper 的身份来给大家来一段我们575的 rapper。OK， 那
So he's gonna rap.
这是一个广告时间啊。OK， 正宗米线575，来自云南的礼物，吃了一次好口福，绝对会让您记住。我们的米线不计数，每位神仙都嫉妒。飞虎队，大无畏，美国中国来相会，一条银色的生死线，让我们大家来纪念。碗很大，汤鲜辣，好吃大家齐叫哇！过桥米线花样多，让我给您说一说。一旦圆满，富贵有， 2趟生肉运长久，3趟木耳润肠道，4趟枸杞护肾宝，5趟青菜好年华，6趟米线常牵挂。云南古法勾魂汤，正宗米线575，正宗米线大老虎575，正宗米线575。Thank you 。所以我们的米线是中美友谊的一碗米线。Oh, thank you.
Wow. I don't know how you can follow that. But Mark is going to follow that. Mark Fan has over 20 years of experience in restaurant and hotel operation management and marketing planning. He's accumulated rich experience in China, Thailand, Singapore, Europe, and the US. In the recent years, he's devoted his time and effort exclusively in the US restaurant market, and today he'll be speaking to us a presentation about the Yunnan Renjia. Mark, welcome to the stage, and good luck, because I don't think you're going to be rapping.
All right, everybody now, last one, always what? Best one, right? I will finish as soon as I can, but I want to explain clear to everybody. So tonight, my name is Mark Fan. If people know me before, my whole name is Mark Dominic Fan, but just call me Mark, okay? Easy to remember me. So today I will introduce a little bit about Yunnan minority ethnic culture restaurant. Actually, I do have a little bit over 20 years experience between China, just like, Angela introduced, Europe, Singapore, and United States. But lately, when I talk with my family and my wife, we talk about what we do for next and what we done in last 15, 20 years. So, actually, if Jenny can help me, yeah. So basically, this is what we will do for next, and I will also introduce what I'm done in the past. So how about next one after? So I will introduce about our business model first. First of all, this restaurant not operating yet, but we already got location in South California. If you guys in here want that happen in here, so you better pay attention very, very careful. So this restaurant, we will mainly just, introduce our Yunnan province, our minority culture, and also our food, and including what we already talked about before, like flour, including minority clothes. So in the future, our first restaurant, you will see everything in that restaurant. So at the end, you will see the location where we choose and how big is that restaurant will look like. So yeah, okay, how about next? All right, so I think same. Next page. All right, this is about business model. I was focused on business model since 2018. So may not everybody agree with me, because if you want to build up a good business model, you have to pay attention, share. Somebody share fortune, somebody share talent, somebody share then time. So this is our business model, but I will explain why we set up like this. Let's say if you want investment for a project, are you going to operate that project, working on that project, or are you going to support the team member who can work on that project? So normally, if you want the project to be successful, you want to pay attention how that every team member feel. Are they excited? Are they looking forward? Are they just like put the whole time, including on lifetime, on that project. So this is why we set up about profit, how we can share the profit with each person, each investor, each employee. We treat our employee like our partner. So, all right, let's do next page. I will introduce about myself. Actually, I'm from Yunnan. So, yes, Fiona Ma, like her parent, her dad, her grandparents from Yunnan. But even we are not grow up in the same environment, but we have that same root. We have that same root. So I was grew up from an apple farm. So since from 1999, I got my first job in Kunming. So I was so excited. But before that, I really, really have a big picture and big dream. I was sold all apples to Singapore, Hong Kong, all those South Asia countries, because that's all I know. That's all I heard about it on watching on TV. That's it. But after I got my first job, I realized there's a lot of things we can do. A lot. But how I can get there? I have to prepare myself. Skill, experience, environment, resources, all those things in my mind. So I decided back to college. At the same time, I keep my job and then finish my college. So that's why I take a little longer to be in China before I went to Singapore. I thought it would be better to prepare yourself before you get on the road. We call before you move the wheel, what? You have to put gas in tank. So that's what I'm thinking. So I was prepared for quite a few years. Okay, next. Okay, this is just Chinese introduce. Oh, wait, back to the Chinese introduction. Okay, when Jenny working on that, how many, if you're born in China, can you raise your hand? Born in China. Okay, if you have a family member or relative have any relationship in China, can you raise your hand? Okay, yeah. So I would say more than 50%, right? So I was really feel in the future if I want to do something, I cannot do it by myself. Not at all. So I decided to spend some time, build up, own foundation, prepare myself. Can you back to the Chinese part? Okay, all right. So I want to share a little bit about what I know about California. Back to 16 years ago, my first trip to US, that was California. My US step-parents, they want me to marry to their daughter. But before that, they want to introduce me to their daughter, living in San Diego. But after we met each other, no. We are not same person, the personality. She liked to slap every day about ocean. Me, about job, about study, about growing. Anyway, that's just like short, story. But then we drove from San Diego back to LA. That was my first trip back, to US. But then, later, every time we stop at LA, one day, overnight, no more than 2 days, into 2019. So, and then I was realized Los Angeles is different than I thought. Someday I may, consider to visit it again. So and then into 2022, I decided, over, almost 10 years, it's time to find a place to settle. Then we settle in California. So more than 2 years, I realized in California there's a lot of opportunity, but also we need to find a better way to do it. Okay, can we do next? Because time, I just want to do a little faster. And then you guys can enjoy the food. All right, so this is what we, talk about, how we can, make better business model and profit. So then we set up the model from, let's say, some food from the farm to the table. That's all we talk about today. So in my mind, we always need make healthy as much you can food for people. So most of food we will try make from farm to the table. And also we have a plan for future. So I will not go into every detail. Okay, can we go next? Sorry, I was not able to get the picture from Steven and Mark yet. So another Mark, from North Carolina. So 4 of them, but the last one, there's nobody on the page yet. So they help me a lot in the future about business model, about food and beverage, and about law. So they are really help me a lot in the future. So okay, let's do next page. Okay, this is a location. Last pretty much 2.5 weeks, we're looking for a place for restaurant everywhere in Los Angeles, in different cities. So even Irvine, St. Gabriel, Alhambra, but finally more likely this is our future location. So just to let you guys know, today I already have an investor from Yunnan, China. They have more than enough money to operate a restaurant. I would say even more than one restaurant. But before we start, they asked me, can you find somebody from California to join us? It's not about the money, it's about you need wisdom from everybody. You need resources from everybody. So I thought, okay, maybe, this is something what I can do. Because what they told me, they have way more than enough to operate in one restaurant. But they will start with first, which means in South California, LA, but not in downtown LA. This location is St. Gabriel. So, but today, if anybody in here, in this room, if you're interested, maybe later we can talk about how we can operate it. It's not about money, it's about all of us have different resources. We have a different idea, better, we all have a different gifts. So that's all I want to share about it. Can we do next page? This is our basically this is our project, and also the profit, how we can do in the future. Next page. Because of time, I will not. I can talk about detail later. So for next 5 years, we want to start first one in LA first. And then our business model and our development plan will be when we operate in one restaurant, and then we will open few more around the city, but not big one, not large one. We call private kitchen, but it's like small restaurant. That way, we have a management team and then support, and also send some product to different small restaurant. Each restaurant will management quite a few in small different city. And hopefully next year, we will start the second one in here, in North California. So yeah, that's our goal. But let's focus on first goal first. which means the first one in LA. All right. Because time, I will not continue for rest of. Next page. So this is what we're planning to do. So just like last page I'm talking about, so our investors have more than enough for one restaurant, but they are challenging me. Say, hey, Mark, if you can find somebody, at least 15 people, each person they only need to join 1% of the partnership, then we are ready for any time. The money is there, anytime. We just opened a company last week. They said, okay, open a bank account. Looking for 15 people. The money is there. Because they are investment for an EB5, their daughter, working on immigration, and they are ready for the second one. All right, so that's all I want to share about it. So, last page. So, this is the final page. If you guys, anybody interested, you can come up, just take a picture together, and then we can talk about later. All right, thank you. If anybody interested, you can, you can come up, we can take a picture, then we can, in the future we can talk about, okay?
Thank you so much, Mark. Actually, his restaurants are amazing. I've been to one, and I loved it. Okay, I know everyone's really hungry. After I heard him rapping about 米线，我已经快饿死了。不用担心，你们马上可以吃饭。But first, I have one more VIP I want to introduce. We have a representative here from the city of Daly City. She's the former mayor and a council member. Jocelyn Manalo is here, and she's going to present some certificates.
Thank you so much. I want to first thank my sister here, the amazing Fiona Ma, for the invitation and forwarding over, and also my brother. We share the same birthday, Mayor Anders Fung. This is so beautiful this evening. I am Justin Manalo, former mayor and council member just next door in Daly City. And this is so amazing. I hear all of the amazing ways to partner. And I just want to congratulate you on your first anniversary and celebration of the American Yunnan General Chamber of Commerce and the Yunnan California Green Agriculture Cooperation Development Forum. We commend you for your work and your continued contributions, not only here, but globally. Thank you. And if you're also looking for some ways to build your business, I think we have some properties in Daly City. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Fiona, can I invite you back to the stage? We'd love to get a picture with anyone else who got a certificate throughout the evening. So we can do one more picture together. Thank you so much. 如果你拿到了 certificate， 你就可以上来。我们要重新拍个照。
Let's get rid of this. We don't need this now. Here we go. There we go.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you everyone for being here. Now we get to eat. However, can you please let our wonderful treasurer, Fiona Ma, go get her food first, and her father, William Ma. We're going to let them get their food first, and then you guys can all line up behind them. William, can I help you get some food?